All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Offsides and On One, a hockey podcast where we're loud, proud, and probably in the penalty box. I'm your host, Devin Moore, and we have a lot to talk about this week, so let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, first up, housekeeping. So, today must be National Piss Devin Off Day because I swear to the Lord above, nothing has gone my way today. But we're persevering. So currently, I'm currently in my car recording this episode because I was in a studio and now I'm no longer in that studio. But anyway, I'll tell you about that in a second. If you hear parking garage noises or the audio sounds weird, it's because I'm in my car. It's a new car, by the way. I got a new car for anybody that doesn't know. I got a new car. It's pretty cool. But that's where I'm recording the episode this week. So let me tell you what happened. I rented the recording studio at my school at the library, like I always do. I've recorded 3 episodes in there, and it's been perfectly fine. Every time, perfectly fine. But today, after I have been tested by the Lord all day, he was like, I got one more thing for you. 2 more things for you. So I go up there. Well, first I went to the desk and I was like, hey, I just need to sign in to use the digital creation room. And she was like, oh, no, you're good. And I was like, what? Like, she kind of looked at me like I was crazy. And she was like, they're up there, they're ready for you. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. That's never happened before. I always check in at the desk. They're like, you're good. And I go up there and I record. I go up there. There was a man in there. And he was in there the entire time I was recording. And I was recording for like 25 minutes and it sounded like shit. I was stuttering. I was nervous because, like, I don't do this in front of people because I sound like an idiot 90% of the time. But he was just there. He was just literally sitting in the corner the entire time. Like, he was minding his business. He was very nice. This is no ill will towards that man. He was very nice. But, like, why were you there? Anyway. And then halfway through recording, somebody opens the door. The door just opens. Like, there's a little buzzer that you have to hit. Like, you have to have an ID. And then it lets you in. And it's not supposed to let you in if there's somebody else in the room. Because, like, you have to rent the room. That's the whole point. So, like, nobody interrupts your recording session. And some jagoff just comes in. And the door is so loud. And I was like, you know what, it. And then I just closed my laptop and I was like, okay, I'm good. And the guy, like, he would apologize and everything. And he went out and talked to the kid. But that's the housekeeping. That's the housekeeping for this episode. But, yeah, now let's go ahead and re-record the meat of this episode. So, this is my second time doing it. So if I sound pissed off, it's because I am. Not because of any of you, just because of life right now. And I'll be fine in about 3 hours when I can relax. But y'all know how it is. You know. Okay, so I listened back to some of this audio and it doesn't sound good. But, like, you're just going to have to deal with it. This is my only option. So, yeah. I can't record anywhere else. Love you all, though. Now that that's out of the way, and I'm calming down, I'm doing breathing exercises, I'm reorganizing my Zen garden, everything's fine. Now, we're going to go ahead and get into some news from around the sport. Alright, so like I said, we're going to get into some news from around the sport and the Olympics. And first up, we have the very unfortunate Kevin Fiala injury. So, Kevin Fiala was injured during Switzerland's 5-1 loss to Canada on the 13th. Fiala was hit into the boards at an awkward angle by Tom Wilson. Who else is shocked? Not me. But Fiala then fell awkwardly on his leg. He was only able to get up to his elbows, but he couldn't move his lower body. So he was then stretchered off the ice due to Olympic protocol and was transferred to the hospital. It was later announced that he would not return to the Olympics and would be out for the remainder of the 2025-2026 NHL season as well. He underwent successful surgery to repair the fractures in his lower left leg and has begun the road to recovery. The Kings announced that Fiala would be reevaluated at the end of the season to see where he stands going into the offseason, but this was overall a heartbreaking finish for Fiala, for Switzerland, and for the Kings now as well. But he seems to be in good spirits. He posted on Instagram. I'll put the post up here for everybody to see. But his surgery was successful. So, yeah, let's just hope that he has a speedy recovery and that he gets back to normal as soon as possible. All right, now next up, of course, we have the big one, the Crosby injury. So Sidney Crosby was injured during Canada's semifinal matchup against Czechia and would go on to miss the semifinals and the gold medal game. Crosby was hit by Radko Gudas at a very awkward angle, and he fell awkwardly onto his right knee. Crosby said he was very close to playing on Sunday's game against the U.S., but ultimately decided to sit out because he felt that he wouldn't be enough of a contribution to the team, which is mind-boggling to hear from Sidney Crosby, but, you know. But now that the Olympics are over, this is a Pittsburgh Penguins problem. And it was announced this morning, unfortunately, that the Penguins have placed Crosby on injury reserve and he will be out of the lineup for at least 4 weeks. Like, pray for me, like, seriously. Y'all pray for me and the entire city of Pittsburgh. We got Chris Letang back, but at what cost? At what cost? But, you know, as for Radko Gudas and the Anaheim Ducks, they're going on a Canadian road trip this week. They are taking on the Oilers, the Jets, and the Flames this weekend. And considering that he's Canadian public enemy number 1, it's going to be interesting to see how the home crowds take it to him. Maybe McDavid will have a message for him. I'm saying this now. McDavid on Hattie Watch for this weekend against the Ducks. But, you know, I think McDavid's going to poster him. McDavid is going to poster his ass. But anyway, yeah, it's just terrible. Please pray for me and Pittsburgh because, like, y'all, we're going through it. But anyway, this is still Crosby news. It's a little more lighthearted. But since the last episode, Sidney Crosby surpassed Jarome Iginla for the most points in Canadian Olympic history when he scored his 15th point against France a few weeks ago. There's a very similar milestone that I'm going to be discussing later as well. But yeah, congrats to Sid for being the all-time point leader in Team Canada history. I mean, who else would do it besides Sid? So yeah. Now, obviously, we saw the end of both the men's and the women's games since last episode. We're going to get more in depth into those in a second, but in the women's tournament, we saw our medal winners were Switzerland, who won bronze, Canada, who won silver, and then, of course, the USA won gold with their historic win. And then we saw a very similar storyline in the men's tournament where Finland won bronze, Canada won silver, and then the US again won gold with their historic win. Now we're going to go ahead and get into the meat of this episode, which recaps the last week of the 2026 Winter Olympic Games, both men's and women's tournaments. All right, so first up, we're going to talk about the women's tournament. And when you talk Olympic women's hockey, it almost always comes down to 2 programs, of course, the United States and Canada. And once again, they met for gold. But before we get into that monster matchup, I want to talk about the bronze medal game. Beyond the gold medal matchup, the final week of the 2026 Winter Games also showcased the increasing depth in women's hockey globally. The European programs are continuing to close that gap between themselves and the North American programs. During these games, the European women's programs showed strong defensive systems, improved scoring depth, and made every elimination game extremely competitive. Switzerland would go on to beat Sweden 2-1 in a thriller where Elena Müller would score the game-winning goal for the Swiss and bring home her second medal for Switzerland. Forgive me if I said her name wrong. I very much apologize for that. But now I also have to mention the backbone of this team, their goaltender, who played a key role in this medal round for the Swiss. She had an outstanding performance in the quarterfinal and had a wonderful showing against Canada in the prelim games. She faced 55 shots in the game against the Canadians and then only let in 5. Like, that's crazy. I know that they lost that game 5-0, but holy crap, she played so well. She stood on her head that entire game. Okay, so that wraps up everything for the bronze game. Now we're going to go ahead and get into the gold medal game. This championship game was exactly what you would expect from this rivalry. Fast, physical, and extremely tight defensively. Canada would strike first halfway through the second period with a goal from Kristen O'Neill. After sustained pressure in the offensive zone, she capitalized on a rebound opportunity to take a 1-0 lead. And then from there, every line change mattered and every neutral zone turnover was incredibly dangerous. The state's response did not come easy, though. Canada clogged shooting lanes and limited second chance opportunities, but early in the third period, the Americans finally broke through. Off a cycle play that forced defensive confusion, the U.S. tied the game at 1 with a perfectly placed shot through traffic from Layla Edwards, which was then tipped in by Hilary Knight. Regulation then ended and we went into overtime. Good Lord, please help me. I hate overtime when my team's involved. Like, I can't handle that. The overtime period was intense. We saw controlled entries, quick changes, and conservative pinches from the blue line. Then came the moment. A quick transition rush, a cross ice feed from Taylor Heisey. Megan Keller has the puck, and then that decisive finish to seal a 2-1 victory for the United States. Megan Keller came barreling down the ice and received a dime pass from Taylor Heisey at the blue line. She put Claire Thompson in a blender and then buried that puck past the goaltender to mark a historical win for the United States. I wish I could put video in, but the Olympics run a very tight program, so unfortunately I can't. You're just going to have to deal with pictures this week. But anyway, during this game, this is the similar milestone that I was talking about earlier. Hilary Knight became the all-time leading goal and point scorer in Team USA hockey history. With her 15th career Olympic goal and 33rd career point, she now stands alone as Team USA's greatest player. That goes for both men's and women's hockey, by the way. Most points and goals from any American at the Olympics. She is the undisputed GOAT, and those numbers do not lie. Now, this gold was significant in many different ways. Not only did it reinforce the dominance of the USA-Canada rivalry, but it also showcased the next generation of American stars stepping into leadership roles. Players like Layla Edwards, KK Harvey, and Haley Wynn are showing us that the next generation of greats are going to be beyond this world. And this is happening at the same time as American greats like Hilary Knight and Kendall Coyne are coming to the end of their Olympic careers. Now, I would be doing an incredible injustice if I didn't bring up the star of these games, Erin Frankel. She was absolutely exceptional. She was calm under pressure, especially during a late third period kill against Canada. That could have changed everything, and she was cool as a cucumber. Team USA had a goal differential of 31-1. Are y'all hearing me? 31-1. That also included the earlier 5-0 shutout of the Canadians, and Frankel had a .979 save percentage during these Olympic Games. .979. She is insane. Insane. One of the most talented goaltenders we have ever seen. But Canada, meanwhile, proved again why this rivalry defines the sport. Their physical forecheck and structured defensive play made this one of the most tightly contested gold medal games in recent Olympic history. Canada left it all on the ice with this one, and those women gave it their all in this game. But they just couldn't hang with the great wall that is Erin Frankel. They really stepped it up this game. I mean, we saw a lot of criticism towards the women's Canadian team this Olympics because people felt that they weren't playing as strongly as they could have been. But this game, this gold medal game, they left it all on the ice. They gave it their all, but ultimately Erin Frankel was just, she's the one. She is the one. All right, now we're going to go ahead and get into the men's side. First, I want to start with the semifinals. So the semis were defined by disciplined defensive play and elite goaltending. In one matchup, we saw Finland push Canada to the absolute brink, and they forced extra time before a late winner from Nathan MacKinnon decided the game. And then in the other semifinal, we saw a dominant first period from the U.S. that ultimately proved to be too much to overcome for Slovakia. Finland would go on to beat Slovakia 6-1 in the bronze medal game. This was Finland's third consecutive bronze medal at the Olympics when NHL players are allowed to participate. Finland did win gold at the last Olympics in Beijing, but they brought home a bronze this year. And by the time we reached the gold medal game, it was clear that this one was going to be a classic, y'all. I mean, really, I was pumped up for this one. So from puck drop in that gold medal game, the pace was electric. This rivalry is one of the biggest in sports, and everybody was hyped up to watch it. I mean, there was actually a record of 26 million viewers of this game on NBC in the U.S., which is just great to hear. It's great for hockey. The United States opened scoring with a quick strike transition play. A turnover forced in the neutral zone led to a clean odd man rush, and a top corner finish from Matt Boldy. This goal was beautiful. Again, I wish I could show you these goals. The Megan Keller goal and then this Matt Boldy goal are two of the greatest from the tournament, I think, but unfortunately I can't show you. You'll just have to deal with pictures. But anyway, Canada later answered in the second period with sustained zone time and a power play goal from Cale Makar. And the rest of regulation from then on out was defined by goaltending. But both Connor Hellebuyck and Jordan Binnington were outstanding. I mean, their rebound control, post-to-post movement, traffic management, it was textbook. It felt like every save was just out of this world from those two. And heading into the third period, things really tightened up. Both teams started quicker changes, but defensive pairings were seeing increased minutes, which I do think was a mistake on Canada's side, especially when it comes to Devon Toews. They left him out there for way too long. Like, bro needed a break, and there was a lot of mistakes made due to that. But anyway, not to like, Devon Toews was catching strays here. I don't mean it like that, but like, they needed to change those lines a little bit quicker than they did. But anyway, there were fewer risks this way for the U.S. at least, and there were more chips off the glass and more conservative breakouts. But then regulation ended and we were tied at 1. So early in overtime, the United States capitalized on a controlled entry. A quick drop pass at the blue line from Zach Werenski created space, and then Jack Hughes fired a shot, released through a partial screen, and it beat Jordan Binnington clean. It was 2-1, game over. The United States won gold. This American victory carried historical weight. It echoed back to the gold medal game at the 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid with the iconic Miracle on Ice, which actually happened 46 years to the day on February 22nd, the day that the men won this gold as well. And while the circumstances were obviously very different, the emotional impact felt similar. Not only was this win historic because it was the first gold for the men's team since Lake Placid, which was 46 years, but there were too many things pointing in the Americans' direction for this to go any other way, really. February 22nd was also Johnny Jr.'s second birthday, the son of the late Johnny Gaudreau, and many American fans felt that Johnny Hockey had something to do with this win. American players as well felt this way, but all these things can't be a coincidence. Not to get woo-woo on you guys, but like, Johnny had something to do with this for sure. And then after the game, the USA players brought out Johnny's number 13 onto the ice to make sure he was part of the celebration. They then also skated over to the crowd where Meredith Gaudreau, Johnny's wife, sat with her kids and brought them out onto the ice to celebrate too. This literally made me cry. I was bawling. But for Canada, unfortunately, this was a heartbreaking loss. Their defensive structure and physical forecheck were excellent the entire tournament, but just that one breakdown in overtime proved to do them in. Now, I'm not going to cover all of the men's team's adventures from earlier this week because I'm still bitter about that phone call and those comments made in the locker room. So that's all we're going to get on that topic. Jake Gensel, you will always be famous to me. Everybody, round of applause for Jake Gensel immediately. Also, another bone to pick. Does Brady Tkachuk know that he works and lives in Canada? Like, if they closed the northern border, he would be stuck in Canada because, you know, he works and he lives there. He plays for the Ottawa Senators. Anyway, so here are some of the biggest takeaways from this final stretch of Olympic hockey. The number one biggest takeaway was that overtime defined these games. Both of the gold medal matchups were decided in extra time, and that speaks to how evenly these top programs are matched right now. There is a little bit of a controversy right now with the 3-on-3. Like John Cooper said, gold medal games should not be decided with 3-on-3. We should be doing 5-on-5. But it's whatever. I mean, I agree with him, but it's over now, and, you know, it's whatever. But maybe I could definitely see that changing going into future Olympics, but who knows. Our second biggest takeaway was that goaltending was elite. Across both tournaments, goaltenders stole these games. I mean, save percentages in the medal rounds were remarkably high, and several semifinal contests were decided by one goal or fewer. And Aaron Frankel and Connor Hellebuyck defined these tournaments for me, and I think for a lot of people. And I'm glad that these goalies are getting the attention that they deserve because they're so incredibly talented, especially Aaron Frankel. I mean, she is just unbelievable. Our next biggest takeaway at number 3 is that the global gap is closing. While US and Canada still dominate the hockey headlines, the depth across Europe and Asia continues to grow. I mean, defensive systems are stronger and special teams are sharper, and that gap is growing smaller and smaller every single Winter Games. Our next biggest takeaway is the historical sweep. The United States captured gold in both men's and women's hockey at the same games, and that's a very rare and powerful statement about the country's development in hockey systems and the hockey depth. This was the first time in USA history that both programs captured gold at the same Olympics, making it a historic win for the USA as a whole. So the final week of hockey at the 2026 Winter Olympics delivered everything fans hoped for: intensity, rivalry, clutch performances, and an unforgettable overtime finish. So from the women's nail-biting gold medal battle to the men's dramatic overtime winner, this was Olympic hockey at its best. And if last week proved anything, it's that the USA-Canada rivalry remains one of the greatest in all of sports, regardless of gender, era, or roster. So that's going to wrap up the Olympic portion of the show. This was a very special time in hockey, and I hope everybody enjoyed all the Olympic action that they could. This is also where I want to remind everyone that 8 of the 12 gold medals won by Team USA this year across the Winter Olympics were won by women. 8 of the 12 were won by women. Now, before we get into What the Puck for this week, I want to remind everyone that NHL action begins tonight. I'm recording this on Wednesday, and NHL action comes back tonight. I'm so excited. I need it today. You're probably not seeing this until Thursday or Friday, but I'm so excited. I miss watching games at normal times in the afternoon. No more of this 6 a.m., 8 a.m. stuff, because obviously time changes. But I have been having Evgeny Malkin withdrawals. I miss Gino. But I get Gino back tomorrow. So now let's go ahead and get into this week's edition of What the Puck. Okay, so this week's edition of What the Puck is still unbelievable to me that this is happening. But anyway, this week's edition of What the Puck will be discussing the elevated cupcake experience. This has been the only thing that's been on my timeline for the last 48 hours. And I bet you're asking, what the hell is an elevated cupcake experience? Because I had the same exact question, and I'm here to tell you what an elevated cupcake experience is. This is also where I'm going to say, take a shot every time I say elevated cupcake experience. You won't be able to walk. So the Sharks recently held their annual community event that is a fundraiser for the Sharks Foundation and supports Bay Area youth. And during this event, they auction off prizes that rich people bid on, and that money goes to the Sharks Foundation. So one of these prizes was something titled an elevated cupcake experience, which went for a whopping $18,000. $18,000, y'all. You hearing me? So basically, this elevated cupcake experience is a cupcake baking class at Frost Cupcake Factory in San Jose. They're a cupcake company that they actually won Cupcake Wars, which is really cool. My mom and I used to love that show. But anyway, this isn't just any cupcake baking class. It's a cupcake class with the owner of the Frost Factory, you, 5 guests, and a few San Jose Sharks. That was a pretty good pitch. Like, they should hire me for real. But now it wasn't clear what Sharks would be at this elevated cupcake experience. But that would change when Will Smith was handed a microphone and he signed both himself and Macklin Celebrini up for this event. Macklin Celebrini, who was still in Milan at the time, by the way. He signed them both up to make these elevated cupcakes. And of course, Twitter ran wild with this. What else is new? It has been all over my timeline since this happened. And I will have some of the memes up here on the screen for you to see if I remember. But my favorite are the ones where they're like, imagine being Macklin Celebrini. You just lost the biggest game of your career so far at the Olympics. Then you get a text from your American teammate saying that he signed you up for an elevated cupcake experience against your will, and you now have to do it because somebody paid $18,000 for it. Like, he doesn't have a choice because somebody just spent $18,000 on an opportunity to make cupcakes with him. Like, what is happening? This is the funniest thing to me. And just the cherry on top of this is that Kat Toffoli posted a TikTok of Tyler Toffoli bidding on this elevated cupcake experience, and he bid up on this prize until he was at $12,000, and then he gave up because it was just like, who the hell is paying $18,000 for cupcakes? But anyway, he bid up until $12,000. He really wanted to make those cupcakes with his boys, but unfortunately, it went too high. The news out of San Jose never fails to make me laugh because they're also having a corgi baptism. Now, you can go research that on your own. Just go look at the San Jose Barracuda's socials if you're interested in corgi baptisms, but they never fail to make me giggle. Shout out to San Jose. But the biggest question that looms in the whole situation of this elevated cupcake experience is it going to be recorded? Like, Sharksman, I need you in that room. I need to see some content from this, because seriously, what is an elevated cupcake experience? What is it? That is such a cryptic name. What the heck is that? What makes a cupcake elevated? Anyway, that's gonna wrap this up, whatever the hell this was. So now we're gonna go ahead and get into internet shenanigans, because oh lord, I have one that might be one of my all-time favorites. So let's go ahead and get into that. All right, y'all. First up, before we get into the ultimate internet shenanigan, we first have this tweet from Alicia on Twitter where it's a picture of Bowie Draisaitl, Leon Draisaitl's dog. He's very adorable. And it has a caption that reads, "Breaking! Bowie Draisaitl, a literal dog, learns how to read before Brady Tkachuk, an adult man." I just wanted to throw this in there because I love every single bit of the Brady Tkachuk hate. I cannot stand that guy. I really can't. But now we get into the juggernaut that is this beautiful thing that I've seen all over the internet. Next, this photo. This picture of Nathan MacKinnon looking at his Tina plushie with pure disgust and hatred is my new favorite thing that exists. I have looked at this picture every day since Sunday, and it has made me hysterically laugh every single time. Like, I don't even have to look at it. I can just think about it and I start giggling. Like, I was writing the script for the pod in class, and I was trying to hide my laughter because I was thinking about this picture. When I saw this happen on live TV, the first thing I thought about was Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. How much you want to make a bet I can throw this Tina over the mountains? That's what Nate was thinking. He was going to throw that Tina over the over the Italian mountains because oh my god, like, the pure look of hatred in his eyes is just unbelievable. All the tweets I saw on this were so funny. Like, I love hockey Twitter. Hockey Twitter has actually been a terrible place since Tuesday morning. Thank you, Quinn Hughes, for destroying everything. Like, why did you have to do that? But anyway, I remember when I said I was organizing my Zen garden, I'm continuing to do that because Quinn Hughes is the most disappointing person. But anyway, thank you all for your service on hockey Twitter with these Nathan MacKinnon memes and also the elevated cupcake experience. Those have both saved my timeline on hockey Twitter for the past few days. I'm honestly about to block the term Team USA from my timeline, but anyway, my favorite tweet from this whole situation was from Jay Fresh on Twitter, and it said, "Nothing is in more immediate danger than the stuffed animal they just handed Nathan MacKinnon." Like, poor Tina. She didn't do anything. It's not Tina's fault you guys didn't win gold. And also, Daryl Watts, too. I mean, the look that she gave that Tina plushie, oh my god. Like, they were ready to just absolutely rip the heads off those plushies. Anyway, that's going to wrap up the internet shenanigans for this week, and let's go ahead and get into the winners and losers. All right, so first up, our first winner this week is whoever got that picture of Nathan MacKinnon. Whoever got that shot of Nathan MacKinnon, you're the biggest winner in my heart. Okay, so our next winners are the entire Team USA women's team, particularly Megan Keller for her historic goal and Hillary Knight for her record-breaking Olympic performance this winter. I'm just so proud of all of them. They're so incredible, and they just put on an absolute show for all of us at the Olympics, and they continue to stand on business on and off the ice. I love them all so much. They're so great. Now, our last winner is, again, I'm bringing her up again. It's Tina, the Olympic winter mascot. Her and Milo were the mascots for the Winter Olympics this year. Milo is her friend, and he is the Paralympic mascot. These two were the cutest things I have ever seen in my life, and I love them so much. They're so sweet. I mean, like, Tina, I would never look at you the way Nathan MacKinnon did. I would never treat you that way. Like, I would never treat you that way, my little diva. She is perfect. I really want a Tina plushie, but I went and looked on the Olympic website. They're all sold out, and they're currently doing a pre-order, but she's like $28, and after shipping, it would be like $45, and I cannot spend $45 on an Olympic plushie. So, yeah. I wish I could have one, but do you think I could get Nathan MacKinnon to give me his? Everybody start DMing Nathan MacKinnon and asking him if he'll give me his Tina plushie. Oh, another winner that's just off the top of my head. I don't have this one in the script, but Megan Thee Stallion is a winner this week for making that video with Layla Edwards. That was absolutely hilarious. And her commentating the men's game. Oh my God, she's so funny. I love her. She was like, I came to check this out because I was thinking maybe it would be something like Heated Rivalry. I love her. I love Megan Thee Stallion. She is so funny. That's going to wrap up the winners for this week. And now we're going to get into the losers. And oh boy, do we have some big losers this week, y'all. All right, here we are at the losers. Line them up. So our losers this week are as follows. Jack Hughes, Quinn Hughes, Tage Thompson, Jeremy Swayman, Matt Boldy, Kyle Cotter, Jack Eichel, Brock Faber, Connor Hellebuck, Clayton Keller, Dylan Larkin, Austin Matthews, Charlie McAvoy, JT Miller, Jake Sanderson, Jacob Slavin, Brady Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk, Vincent Trocheck, and Zach Werenski. Did you guys get all that? I am extremely disappointed in all of them. Some more than others. I'm looking at you, Quinn Hughes. But I'm disappointed in them for that phone call. The comment that was made on that. The hats. The trips to Miami and elsewhere. I let myself be proud of this team for 1 minute, and now I just look stupid. We all look stupid. It's embarrassing for the whole country, unfortunately. But it's not political, though, right, Jack? Right, Jack Hughes? But you're wearing the president's merch. And that's not political? No, right. No, I understand. That statement they made was a total joke. I mean, like, it's just unbelievable. And I know Tage Thompson was itching to put that hat on. But anyway, those are all the losers this week. But on a better note, y'all, to end on a happy note, Paul Skeens made his spring debut this morning. Woo! Baseball is back, y'all. Paul Skeens made his spring training debut. The NHL is back tonight. The PWHL is back this weekend. And that single-handedly is keeping me from losing my mind. They did manage to make baseball games even longer, though, with these challenges that they're doing, which is a little bit unbearable, but I'm just excited to watch Paul Skeens, so it's okay. And also the Pirates are winning the World Series, by the way. Just letting you know. 16-7 against the Red Sox the other day. Anyway. Yeah, get ready for the parade. We're going to have multiple parades in Pittsburgh this year. All right, so guess who doesn't have the Bago hockey cards again this week? Me. Guess who also doesn't have any other hockey cards with her to give you an actual hockey card to highlight this week? Me. But I came up with this other idea because there's a plethora of hockey cards that I do want to get. And I figured I would show you one of those and highlight one of those. And then maybe when I actually get it, I'll let you know. Speaking of hockey cards as well, my Team Canada cards from Tim Hortons that I ordered weeks and weeks ago still have not made it to the States, but hopefully they're getting here soon. But when they do, I'll let you know and I'll show you what I got. But anyway, I wanted to highlight a card this week that I have been wanting for a really long time. I really enjoy collecting cards of my favorite players when they were in college or in juniors or just before they were in the NHL. And this is a card of Sidney Crosby from 2004 when he was with the Rimouski Oceanic. I always have trouble saying that, but I think I did okay. I love this card. I love these jerseys. This is also a dream jersey of mine. Every time I try to find one, they are so unbelievably expensive. But maybe when I have a big girl job one day, I'll get myself one of these Oceanic jerseys. But I want this card really bad. It's more expensive. It's like $25, which I know isn't that much, but like that's a lot. That's still a lot. For like a piece of cardboard, that's a lot. But I know other card collectors are like, $25, that's nothing. That's still a lot of money. But yeah, this Sidney Crosby card I've been having my eye on for a long time. I have a bunch of different ones favorited on eBay. So if any of you want to go buy me this card, you totally can and send it to me. Shout out. Please buy it for me. I don't have any money. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to highlight this card because it's really sick. And it would go good with my collection. I have a Chris Letang card from when he was at the World Juniors, and I have an Evgeny Malkin card from when he was just a little babby on Russia. Little tiny babby Evgeny Malkin on Team Russia. Who else do I have? I have Tristan Jarry from his junior days. I have who else? I can't remember off the top of my head, but I have quite a few. I have Max Celebrity from the World Juniors, Connor Bedard from the World Juniors. I really love those cards. I think they're really cool, and this Oceanic card would be an awesome addition to my little collection that I have. But yeah, I think that's pretty much going to wrap up this week's episode. Sorry if it was all over the place. Sorry if the audio is terrible. Thank you for listening to me yap and rant. I have had one hell of a week. I think I say that every week, but oh my God, is it true? Oh Lord, is it true? But yeah, I appreciate you all for listening. Hope you enjoy this episode. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Follow me on TikTok. Don't forget to do that. Follow me on TikTok. Ooh, follow me on TikTok. I haven't posted on there in a minute because I've been stressed. But yeah, hello. Go follow me on TikTok. Okay. Bye.